Hey there, everybody out there in YouTube land. How are we doing? It's tonight already. It's it's 10 minutes after 10, exactly 10:10. And I wanted to share something that happened with me today at the mall. There's a very beautiful girl that works in there, and she came up to me today. And she gave me the biggest compliment I could ever imagine. And she says to me, "You are the GOAT." And a couple of other people walked up, and then there was like 12 people standing in front of me. And all of them agreed with the same statement, "I'm the GOAT." And at first I was going to say, well, I don't accept that. I don't know what I've done to deserve a statement of that nature. But then I said, okay, I'll agree with that statement. I am the GOAT. And I said that. And I just wanted to share that with you. I know that I'm in love with myself. I love myself dearly. And I don't want to take anything away from anybody. Whatever they want to say, any statements that they say about me, I accept it. I accept it wholeheartedly. I accept it. I mean, that's a really great statement, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I mean, who could ask for any more? And they all agreed with her, and I was like super elated. And I said, "Well, thank you all for making my day, basically." And I don't want to take away from somebody that makes a broad statement like that, but you can imagine 12 people all standing in unison and saying that same thing. I'm the greatest of all time. Now, if you're looking at like the Messiah or something like that, yeah, for me, he is the greatest of all time. But in my own way, I can be considered that as a human being that walks this planet. Why not? I love myself dearly, and I love everybody that comes into contact with me, whether it be a hater or associate, acquaintance, a friend. I don't have any bosses. I am the boss. I am the boss. So I don't have any bosses, but even family members or whatever, I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. And I don't know as far as what she was getting at. I mean, as far as like in what sense of the matter am I the GOAT? But nevertheless, I accepted it. I did. Because it's not often that somebody's going to walk up to you and say something of that nature. And I love myself enough that I would accept something of that nature, and I do. The greatest of all time. I mean, for me, sports is concerned, Michael Jordan in basketball, the greatest of all time. You might have your own professional player that you believe is the GOAT. But for me, in basketball, Michael Jordan was and is the greatest of all time. Football. If you're going by positions or whatever, you might come up with somebody else. But back in my day, my dad was a big Dallas Cowboy fan. And I always felt like Roger Staubach was the greatest of all time as far as quarterbacks were concerned. Now, it doesn't mean that he was. I mean, he didn't have nearly the standings of a lot of other players back during that time. But like if you look at Terry Bradshaw was only good because of his offensive line. And that's what made him a great quarterback. But if you'd have taken his offensive line away from him, he'd have just been an average Joe. But Roger Staubach was the man back then, and I still believe he is, just like Tony Dorsett. I'm actually a Miami Dolphins fan. Bob Greasy was the man for me. But, like I said, Roger Staubach, I had to watch every Dallas Cowboy game there ever was back during that time because my dad was the biggest Dallas Cowboy fan that lived. And he wasn't even from Dallas. He was from New York. But he went with who he believed in, and that was Roger Staubach. So, I grew fond of Roger Staubach and Tony Dorsett and Tony Hill, and all of them players on that team were just super great for me. Too Tall Jones. The list goes on and on. What's the name? White Shoes Johnson and Robert Newhouse, he was the fullback. All of them people were super great back during that day. They actually played their hearts out each time they played. Each time they picked up the football, they played their hearts out. Whether or not they had a lot of championship rings or whatever, makes no difference for me, okay? And then baseball. I was down in Florida at the time that I grew up. They didn't have a baseball team down in Florida to speak of. So I was a big Atlanta Braves baseball fan. And, you had Phil Niekro and Bob Horner and Dale Murphy and people like that. And then come in the 90s, Steve Bedrosian, and Terry Pendleton and people like that. I mean, the list just goes on, and even the Braves won last year, and they're not doing so bad right now either. So, I mean, we might get a repeat of another win, which is good for Atlanta. It brings opportunity here, and, I realize that, even I'm from Florida. I mean, like I said, I am a Magic fan. I do, I root for the Magic, even though they haven't won, so be it. It is what it is. That's where Shaquille O'Neal came from, and Penny Hardaway, and people back during that day, and it was a great franchise at that time until Shaq decided that he wanted to go and do his movies and that, and he ended up going over there, to the Lakers, which was messed up for me, but hey, it is what it is. The movie business was more over on the West Coast side, but it is what it is. Like I said, I understood why he did it. He got into a little bit of rap here and there. He wasn't that great of a rapper, but hey. But I met him down on Far Road here in Atlanta. I think I mentioned that, but I met him down on Far Road in the Waffle House. I'll never forget that. He definitely is a tall man, and he had to bend down just to get in the door. That's how tall he is. So it is what it is. Anyways, I just wanted to say that it made me feel wonderful to hear somebody call me the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And I guess that's in my own wheelhouse. What I do. I'm the GOAT. You know, it's not the greatest of all time in all circumstances. No, because I can play basketball, but you know, I'm just so-so. I can play football, I'm just so-so. I can play baseball, I'm just so-so. But, you know, in my own field, I am the GOAT. The greatest of all time. And it's a wonderful feeling to feel that. It is to feel that other people support you like that, enough to call you something of that nature. It really is the greatest of all time. Anyways, I love you all. Love yourself. Love God. And by all means, love each other, people. Until the next time, love, peace, and soul.